We did it! Great job, team!
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for the great work last quarter. Let's discuss the agenda items for today's meeting.
Sounds good. I'm keen to discuss the market expansion.
Well, there's been a lot of talk lately about whether you actually own what's sitting in your brokerage account. So in this video, we're going to separate fact from fiction, and you're going to walk away feeling a lot smarter and a lot calmer about what you can control. Saturday, February 21st, New York time. Before we go any further, comment the day and date you're watching from. I always like seeing how far these videos travel. Quick note, we do have members-only videos that a separate research team puts together with deeper digging and more supporting detail. If you want to support the channel and access those deeper dives, just hit subscribe. Now, if you've been online at all, you've probably seen some version of this claim. You don't really own your stocks, it only looks like you do. And right next to it, the rules were written this way on purpose. Powerful interests block every fix, and when the next crisis hits, you'll find out the hard way. That's the vibe. It's also the kind of statement that's half truth, half fear, and 100% designed to make you either panic sell or blindly buy whatever the person is pitching next. So let's slow down and unpack it. Because the real question isn't, do you own it? Yes or no? The real question is, what exactly do you own? Under what rules? In what location? And what happens if the plumbing gets stressed? Once you frame it that way, the entire conversation changes. The first thing most people miss. The modern market is mostly book entry. It's not like the old days when you had a paper certificate in a drawer. Today, most of what you hold is recorded through layers of intermediaries. Your broker is essentially keeping score on your behalf. That sounds sketchy, but it's not automatically sketchy. It's just the system. And that system has a legal backbone. Under the Uniform Commercial Code, a customer's interest isn't usually described as, you own that exact share certificate. It's described as a security entitlement, meaning you have a legally recognized property interest in the pool of that asset held by the intermediary. Pause here. This is where people either feel relieved or even more nervous. On the reassuring side, the language is explicit. To the extent needed to satisfy customers, intermediaries hold those interests for entitlement holders. They are not supposed to treat them as their own property. So if someone says the law literally says you own nothing, that's not the full picture. But, and there's always a but, in the US, there are investor protection mechanisms designed to restore securities and cash when a broker-dealer fails. Important distinction. They are not designed to protect you from market losses. They are designed to return what should already be yours. If records are clean, accounts can often be transferred to another brokerage rather than rebuilt from scratch. That's the normal failure playbook. But here's where problems start. 1. Records aren't clean. 2. Assets were tied up in margin, lending, or rehypothecation chains. And this is where your own choices matter. Enable margin. You changed the contract. Join fully paid lending. You introduced a borrower, a recall process, and counterparty risk. That doesn't mean it's bad. It means you should understand the trade-off. Quick gut check question. Are you investing, or are you accidentally running a tiny securities lending business from your app? Most people hold securities in street name. Your broker's name is on the upstream register. You hold beneficial interest. That's standard. Alternatives like direct registration reduce layers, but also reduce convenience. It's not binary safety. It's a menu of trade-offs. The same framework also explains what happens in a shortfall. Meaning, what if there aren't enough assets to satisfy everyone? That's where the real fight begins. Think of it like a coat check at a packed theater. You hand over your coat. You get a ticket. You absolutely have a right to your coat. But if the building floods and the coats are ruined, your ticket doesn't magically recreate the coat. Now the question becomes, who reimburses you? What's covered? How fast does it happen? That doesn't mean you never had a coat. It means the custody chain took damage, and that's the key distinction. A security entitlement is a property interest, yes, but it's a property interest designed for a pooled intermediated system. Pooling isn't evil. It's how modern markets scale. Central securities depositories and clearing systems are essentially massive digital vaults. They allow speed, settlement, and liquidity. If you've ever wondered why you can trade instantly, this is why. But convenience concentrates control. Once ownership is dematerialized, where the ledger lives matters as much as the asset itself. And in stress, priority rules matter even more. The extreme version of this debate says, because the system is intermediated, big players can take everything and you have no rights. That's too absolute. It's a menu of trade-offs. The smart approach is layered. Keep convenience where you need liquidity. Keep direct control where you cannot afford access risk. Because the worst moment to discover the fine print is when everyone else is discovering it too. Now zoom out. The plumbing is global. Securities don't just sit in one building anymore. They move through depositories, clearing systems, custodians, and cross-border chains. And the rules that matter are often the rules of the jurisdiction, where the asset is immobilized. That's why jurisdiction risk isn't theoretical anymore. When assets sit inside a complex governance structure, access can become conditional. Conditional access isn't about conspiracy. It's about law, contracts, approvals, and process. And process is slow in a crisis. Ownership today is inseparable from governance. If the rulebook changes where the asset sits, the asset behaves differently. That's the structural reality of modern finance. So when people argue about whether you really own your brokerage account, they're usually arguing past the real issue. Your rights exist, but those rights are enforced through layers, legal layers, operational layers, and contractual layers. In normal conditions, the system works smoothly. Transfers happen, dividends post, trades settle. You don't have to think about it. But in stress, priority rules matter, record keeping matters, collateral chains matter, contract definitions matter. And the winner in a crisis is usually the party whose definitions were written clearly long before the crisis began. So what can you control? You can read your margin agreement. You can decide whether to opt into securities lending. You can understand how your assets are registered. You can diversify counterparty exposure. You can think about jurisdiction before it becomes a headline. You can't eliminate every systemic risk, but you can avoid accidental risk. And that's the real takeaway. Don't panic. Don't fall for slogans. Don't assume doom. But don't assume simplicity either. Understand the structure. Understand your agreements. Understand your risk layers. Then make decisions calmly, before stress forces them for you. Because in modern markets, ownership isn't just about having the asset. It's about understanding the system that holds it. And once you understand the system, you stop reacting emotionally and start acting strategically.